Welcome back, Tarot fam. Hope you guys enjoyed that intro. I'm a huge fan of The Twilight Zone. My daughter and I watch it every year for New Year's. This year we did not. Sadly, we did not. We were running around doing a bunch of things. But in a throwback to my What If Wednesdays, I thought we would do a What If Kamala Harris won the election. Now that we are in to 2025, I think it's going to be very interesting to take a look at what would have happened if she won. So, small disclaimer about this. My readings during the election night, I took a lot of heat because I wasn't making any predictions about the election, but I kept saying, this is anybody's game. This is anybody's game. Somebody's going to win. It's anybody's game, though. I can't determine who's going to win. On election night, I did do readings throughout the night, and there were people behind all of or a number, not all of them, but a number of the polling locations. And it was almost as if there were some parties that were on watch for cars coming up with what I want to call laundry bags full of um, uh, ballots. They looked like those big, long laundry bags that you have when you're in college. So there was something that was preventing those extra votes from coming in. So I do think that there was a scam at hand and that it was thwarted. But let's take a look at some of the interesting things. I just took a selection of questions. So, as always, if you have further questions about this, put them down below. Comment down below, and I will do my best to answer them in either shorts or in part two. Maybe we'll need a part two. So I'm going to bring up the card view. Before I do that, please like, share, and subscribe. And I am actually going to be a little bit missing this weekend because it is the first competition weekend for my son. But I want to remind everyone to take advantage of the February sales. I have lots of sales that are out there. I have a $25 quick read if you just have like one or two quick questions, actually one question, really limited to one question. But I've got price points for everybody. So get in there. I've got Valentine readings if you want to talk about love. I've got self-love readings if you want to talk about how to, care for yourself if you're not partnered up for this Valentine's Day. I know it can be a little bit of a tricky day if you're not partnered up. So it can be a tricky day sometimes if you are partnered up. So let's take a look at what could have been had Kamala won. Here's our card view. I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you're enjoying my warp in the back. I figured it went with the Twilight Zone stuff. So let's ask a question. Right now, the border has been shut down at the United States. There are all kinds of neat things happening on our border. We now have convinced Mexico, we've negotiated, Donald Trump has negotiated with Mexico to have some of their military at the border, preventing any crossings in exchange for delay of the tariffs that Donald Trump had promised to put on any Mexican goods. I like avocados. I still want to see them come in without a 25% tariff. So let's see, what would the border be like? And we're going to talk about the southern border, not the northern border into Canada just yet. We'll take a look at the northern border as well. So 8 of Wands, speed, nothing to stop it. 5 of Wands, conflict, judgment in reverse. And we have the Hierophant in reverse as well. Queen of Pentacles up top and the Empress down on the bottom. So what we could expect on the southern border if Kamala Harris had won, this would be money building. Bringing those people in would have been, in her view, money building. Down here under the surface, Empress, we are creating a whole new America. We are creating a whole new population to come into the United States. This is something that I also said in my follow-ups to the 2024 election, is that that population that was brought over the border, they did expect those people to go out and vote. They were instructed to go out and vote. They were reminded to go out and vote. They were directed where to go out and vote without any ID and without citizenship. And guess what? Their army did not show up. So, it was an uncontrollable army to begin with, and it didn't show up when they needed them to. So that in mind, she would have been still importing more support for a Democratic vote moving forward, people that would be working and peopling the United States. Intuitively, what I am getting is that it would have been too many. We would have had too many people here. This would have been problematic. Ultimately, it just would have been too big to sustain. But that border would have been going fast and furious. Not referencing the scandal from the Obama administration, but we would have had people coming over the border, and we would have had people that were coming over the border with hat in hand, coming over to get benefit, to get money, they would be coming over destitute, empty-handed. And here also fighters would have been brought over. This would have created some conflict. There is a school of thought that one of the plans is to overpopulate the cities, have them be overrun with individuals so that the federal government has to bail them out, and then they become outposts of the seat of power, which in the United States is Washington, D.C. We all know that. It would have been federal actions within the states. Those of you that are not from the United States, you have to remember that all of our states are autonomous in the sense that they are supposed to govern the state with the guidance of the federal government. So depending on which side of the political spectrum you're on, some people like bigger government, some people like smaller government, some people like government to handle everything, and some people like government hand off. As a libertarian, right in the middle, again, I'm going to stress I'm not a Republican. I've been accused of being a Republican. I was never a Republican. I've always been a libertarian. I think Generation X, a lot of us fall into that category, even though some of us don't know it. But we basically want to be left alone. Let us make our money. Let us do what we need to do for ourselves. We're very independent. We're very self-sufficient. Leave us alone. Don't interfere with our lives, and let us get on with things. So I do think that there would be more of a push had Kamala won to have more federal involvement, infusion, moving peoples around, putting people in locations, those kinds of things. So I do think that would have been part of this whole campaign, part of her whole administration, and the focus, the primary objectives. Judgment would have been in reverse, and this would have diluted the power of the federal government. Believe it or not, if they did have those outposts in the individual cities, you're always going to have power-seeking individuals who may want to obtain more power through leadership as a surrogate. Follow me there. So that's what I think about that. What surprises would we have seen at the border, southern border? Would we have seen any surprises? What kind of surprises would we have seen? There would have been another component of border, the Border Patrol. There would have been another component of it. Their autonomy would have been challenged. So do we get a federal police force brought in here? Yeah, I think we do. I think that's something that would have happened. They would have turned this possibly with some of the people that came over that maybe had some kind of law enforcement or security background. I think they would have trained those people. These are the people that are coming over. We'll train their people to better understand it, speak the same language, have the same culture, those kinds of things. I think there would have been a supplemental Border Patrol put in there. Would it have been an entirely different entity? I think it would have been. I think it would have been Border Police versus Border Patrol. I think they would have changed the branding of it. Everybody loves a brand change. So I think there would have been a change of branding for that. And I do think that that would have interfered with the existing Border Patrol, with the existing governments. We know Governor Abbott from Texas is very, very vocal about what goes on at his border. And I do think that there would have been some conflicts with that. Here we get Nine of Cups, the devil. They would have been stuck with it. Nine of Pentacles, not protected. The states on the border would not have been protected. They would have been overrun, and we would have had too many things going on there with the Two of Pentacles. It would have been expensive. It would have been messy. It would have been tremendously bad for the individuals that are working down there. That would have been the surprise, that we would have gotten another police force, border patrol. Queen of Pentacles, again, this would have been a location for monies to come in. So what about the economy? How would the economy fared under a Kamala Harris administration? First of all, what would be the first thing that she would do? She kept saying it was an opportunity economy. And that, I believe, is tied into the immigration that was pouring over the border. So how would the economy have done? The economy would not have done well. Seven of Wands. They would have kept... This would not have looked good at all. So the economy would not have thrived, but it would have kind of existed the way that it is or has been, kind of up and down, wiggling, kind of dancing on the edge of bankruptcy, which in my opinion, we have a number of entities and services that are about to be bankrupt. Social Security is one of them, and is probably going to go bankrupt before I am of an age where I can obtain it. I do think that is going to be a major issues, pensions, those kinds of things, which makes DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, all the more interesting and important. So say what you will about Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. I know a lot of people have a lot of opinions about but I do think that looking at the government efficiency is really key. There are a lot of things that people are saying about U.S. aid being dismantled. We're finding out, $50 million for condoms in Gaza. That seems like a lot of condoms to me. I'm just saying. Just seems like a lot of condoms. So, and I don't know if that was details of it, but that's how it's being pitched. But I do think that the economy would not thrive. We would be balancing out where it is. This Queen of Swords, I do think she would have been cutting things. Now, I don't know what that would have been. In terms of bailouts, I do think we would have seen very small bailouts to kind of create the illusion that they were doing something. This, if we're doing, tax changes to taxes, I think that's what we're seeing here, taking away those tax cuts from bigger companies, perhaps. Here, we would have been handing out monies to regular families, stimulus checks, those sorts of things. But ultimately, that would have crashed and burned. That would have been a failure, because that would have done one of two things. People would be spending, yes, but they would be splurge spending, not spending on significant things. So this, again, is perpetuating a system of splurge and poverty, which is not a good thing. People, when you get money, put it away. I just established a new savings account, and I am going to put one of the reading offerings that I have this month. I am dumping all of that into this savings account because I want to see it grow. I want to see it have a good time. I'm not going to take that money. I am not going to have a good time with it. I'm going to let that money go have a good time by itself. And I am saving for something in the future. Over here, they would have kept a lot of secrets, and they would have said, bigger government. This is what we would have looked at. Much bigger government. We need another department. We need this. So whereas DOGE is getting rid of departments, I think Kamala Harris's administration would have been adding departments, would have been adding more government jobs in there. So that is very curious. Would we have seen any surprises in the economy? Any surprises? So we would have been told that there would be growth later. We would have been told that there would have been plans to do a lot of big things. Joe Biden, when he came into office in 2021, said, "Oh, high-speed rail. We're talking about efficiency in travel, efficiency in transportation." We didn't see anything. None of that happened. Pete Buttigieg, where were you on that one? We did not see any of the promises that were made. So the promises made down the road by a potential Kamala Harris administration would never have come to fruition. They would have been talked about, a lot of money thrown at it, maybe some beginnings, but in the end, we're all left disappointed and waiting for the actualization of those things. So would the other branches of government have cooperated with the administration, with the Kamala Harris administration? Would we have seen that? Would we have seen cooperation? Knight of Wands. It's hard to say. Six of Cups, Seven of Cups. I think they would have. There would have been efforts, but I just think no. I think no. The different branches of the United States government are purposely structured so that there is no one party that really wields great and terrible power. The idea behind it is that we have some balance of opinion and spectrum of political leaning. So I think it would have been very difficult for it. This wasn't a Kamala Harris's administration would not have been a continuation of the Joe Biden administration, thank God. And I think it would have been very hard for her to get that started. It's almost like we're taking a car with a manual down a hill and popping the clutch so that we can get it started. And there's a whole bunch of gravelly roads on the way down. It just doesn't seem that there's enough of a history there where they could just kind of pick up and continue the progress. So it's almost like she would have thrown out the baby with the bathwater. We would have started all over again, and everyone would have had to adjust to the changes in the administration and the way of governing. So I do think it would have been very complicated. The Seven of Cups, I think we would have gotten a lot of, remember AOC did she was one of the authors of that new Green Deal document that talked about cows farting. They wanted to work on cows farting. So I think there would have been a lot of things that people would have been like, huh? What? Like, how are we going to do this? So less cooperation because of a lack of understanding of where she's coming from. Let's see how the world leaders would have worked with her. We're going to start with the United Kingdom. King Charles, Prince William, and Keir Starmer, the current prime minister. I know my British people, we all have an issue with him. So how would she have worked with King Charles III? Queen of Wands. I don't think he would really see any alignment with her ideas, specifically on environmental stuff. I think she really was lacking in the environmental information. Prince William, Ace of Wands. I think she would have worked better with him. I just think that their personalities would have been more accessible to each other. The enthusiasm kind of matched. Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer loves her. So definitely part of the one world government. They would have been working together to make that happen, to bring everyone closer together. More of a village concept, which is very strange, having a one world village kind of concept. So sorry. How about North Korea? How would she have done with Kim Jong-un? Seven of Pentacles. She would have tried to have replicated the discussions that Trump had with Kim Jong-un, to no avail. Would not have worked. There's too much conflict there. and too much of putting her hand out and going, come along with us, come along with us. Almost a very bossy kind of vibe. I do think it would have interfered with any goodwill that has been established. Xi Jinping. Ping. Xi Jinping. Ping. We all know that he's a good buddy of Joe Biden, according to Joe Biden. We're getting the same cards here, 7 sevens and an 8. I do think that he would have found her full of nothing and would have diverted from her, Xi Jinping. So just remember, he is close with Putin. If you didn't see my Putin video yesterday, go look at it. I think he would have found her an empty vessel. And last but not least, how would she have done with Putin? Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Not being sexist here, but I do think that Putin would have found her just a woman. I don't think he would have found her as a worthy opponent. Again, is the word of the day. She would have tried to strong arm him. It wouldn't have worked. It would have perpetuated any bad relations between the two countries. He would have seen her as a woman. Go back and do womanly things. And here it would have left him wanting a more worthy opponent. The relationship would not have progressed. I think she would have come down on him very, very hard in terms of how he works with the Ukraine situation. So, very interesting. So last but not least, let's see how the legacy of her administration would have been. We're going to look at legacy. This means she gets through all 4 first years, and let's see what happens at the end of it all. The Wheel of Fortune is crossed by the devil. Under the surface, 9 of Cups. Behind her, the 3 of Wands, 10 of Wands. I don't think she would have been the candidate for a second term. I do think that the powers that be would have tossed that up to someone else. She's not working out. She served a purpose as vice president for Joe Biden. I don't think that they really would look at her presidential term as anything great. 3 of Wands here. We would have been in complete misalignment with the 3 branches of the U.S. government. Down here, 4 of Wands. She would have been comfortable and happy living in the White House. That's about it. Over here, 10 of Wands, not full of ideas, full of hot air. Down there, Page of Swords. She would have been saying, they didn't listen to my ideas. I'm speaking, United States of America. I'm speaking. Death card in reverse. She would not go away. There would have been issues with her trying to run for a second term, and I think they would vilify her and put her out on display with the things that she did wrong. Would that have hurt the Democratic Party? Yes, but I think they would have moved her off the ticket for a second presidential run. So that is my what if reading. So I had to start and stop this a few times because I'm still coughing. It's like the cough that won't go away. Gregopedia and I both are coughing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, it is Saturday. I will be working a concession stand all day today at an indoor percussion competition right here in my town. So everybody enjoy this while I am handing out slices of pizza and enjoying a lot of loud music. So I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much. Again, I'm going to remind you, like, share, and subscribe, and take advantage of my sales for the month of February. Lots of cool stuff out there. I will see you guys in the future.